Did you realize that throughout history there have existed numerous personalities in this life that the wise consistently cautioned us to shun in every circumstance? Yet what if we encounter characters who are not so simple to endure? Individuals who are irrational, deceitful, crude, or destructive. Figures who attempt to manipulate, mislead, or injure us. How must we respond to such encounters in this discussion? We will examine 12 categories of individuals that philosophy alerts us against and ways to manage them with composure. These are figures we ought to avoid or restrict our relations with, since they can harmfully disturb our psychological and emotional balance. We will likewise share practical guidance and illustrations on methods to handle them derived from the teachings of the ancient thinkers. Before we proceed in this lesson, I wish to express gratitude to you for engaging, and kindly remember to press the support option. And if you are listening now and have not joined yet, ensure to join and activate the reminder for further transformative philosophical material. The first, the flatterer, represents one who continually provides admiration or compliments toward others, yet without sincerity or authentic feeling. They are forever false, deceitful, or pretentious. They never believe their statements, but simply offer words that others desire to hear. They are cunning, misleading, and selfish. The way to face the flatterer is to remain unmoved by their praises or remarks. We should not permit them to sway or trick us into imagining that we are superior or inferior than we truly are, or into feeling arrogant or vain. Rather, we must be humble, moderate, and assess ourselves through our personal measures and ideals. We should also remain alert and guarded, and not depend or lean upon them. Nor should we become flatterers ourselves, but strive to remain honest, authentic, and avoid admiring others for hidden purposes. Epictetus once remarked in his teaching, "If someone handed your body to a random passerby, you would certainly be furious. Yet do you not feel embarrassed? Surrendering your mind to be unsettled and puzzled by any who might verbally provoke you, the second the complainer continually detecting flaws in every matter, and endlessly voicing discontent, the complainer is never content and habitually charges others or outward situations for their misfortunes. Gloomy, bitter, and ungrateful, they cultivate a corrosive atmosphere. The calm approach for confronting complainers is to disregard their grievances and not allow them to weigh us down. It is unwise to exhaust our time and energy attempting to uplift them or resolve their issues, since they rarely appreciate assistance. Instead, we ought to stay attentive to our personal aims and deeds, nurturing gratitude for what we already hold. It is vital to remember that lamentation is futile and damaging. It only cultivates sorrow and erodes our resilience. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosophical guide, wrote in his Reflections, "Never squander the remainder of life in considerations about others when your thoughts are not oriented towards some benefit for the community." The third, the drama seeker, inclined to generating or attracting turmoil and quarrels. The drama seeker flourishes upon scandals, chatter, and disputes. Reckless, emotional, and instigating, they pursue notice and often distort or fabricate their narratives. How should we approach them? The disciplined practice is to maintain distance, refusing participation in their quarrels. We must not let them disturb or disrupt our tranquility. We must also deny their hunger for attention by refusing curiosity or indulgence. Instead, we must direct focus upon our personal duties and shun needless disorder and strife. We must likewise guard against becoming seekers of drama ourselves by keeping watch over our speech and behavior, and by not yielding to passion. Epictetus, the servant-turned-teacher, once declared in his discourse, "Remember, you are a performer in a play of such kind as the author chooses to compose. If short, then short. If long, then long. If his wish is that you act a laborer or a ruler or a common person, see that you perform it naturally. For that is your task, to act your role with excellence. Choosing it is another's." The fourth, the skeptic, unceasingly doubting, rejecting, or opposing. All matters, the skeptic is forever distrustful, scornful, and phrasous. Pessimistic, epress through their discouraging conduct. How should we respond with steadiness? One must dismiss their bleakness and not permit it to weaken assurance or dignity. Rely upon your discernment. Follow what you deem proper and shun useless disputes. Permit your deeds to declare more than your speech. As Cicero sagely declared, let us never heed those who suppose. We must nurture wrath toward adversaries, and imagine this to be noble and courageous. Nothing is more commendable, nothing more distinctly reflects a lofty and virtuous soul than mercy and willingness to forgive. Number 5. The victim is an Azantine individual who perpetually regards themselves as the casualty of situations, other people, or fortune. They remain continually defenseless, despairing, or impotent. They never assume responsibility for their existence, but continually place blame upon others or external elements for their miseries. They are inactive, reliant, and embittered. The composed method of meeting the victim is to avoid pitying them or supporting their helplessness, refuse manipulation or guilt imposition, emphasize self-reliance, resist yielding to victimhood, embrace what cannot be altered, and act upon what can nurture gratitude rather than complaints. Epictetus reminded in his Discourse there is but one path to happiness, and that is to abandon fretting over things lying outside the scope of our will. Number 6. The toxic optimist is one who forever pretends to be cheerful and delighted despite reality. They are unfailingly unrealistic, credulous, or fanciful. They deny or reject difficulties, void of genuineness and sensitivity. The wise course for addressing the toxic optimist is to resist their counterfeit cheer or bliss. Confront hardships with realism, speak truthfully of feelings, and avoid repressing emotion. Uphold authenticity and equilibrium, resisting the tendency to imitate false optimism. Marcus Aurelius noted in his Reflections, "The happiness of existence is shaped by the character of thoughts. Hence, protect them diligently and ensure you admit no ideas contrary to virtue and reason nature." Number 7. The manipulator ever striving to govern or exploit others. The manipulator is deceitful, crafty, and egocentric. They exploit and misuse, disregarding honor or concern for companions. How do we counter them? The thoughtful stance is to evade their control and safeguard independence. Remain cautious, assertive, and self-reliant, not allowing trickery to sway choices or deeds. Abstain from manipulation yourself by practicing truthfulness and fairness. Number 8. The boaster, endlessly flaunting or parading triumphs, possessions, or talents. The boaster is haughty, vain, and insecure. They demean companions, fostering rivalry and jealousy. The calm stance against the boaster is to reject envy or admiration for their display or ostentation. We must not let them mislead us into assuming they are greater or more joyous than we are, or drive us to feel lesser or discontent. Instead, we should remain fulfilled, confident, and value ourselves upon our own measures and virtues. We must also remain meek and moderate, and refrain from boasting or exalting ourselves or competing against others. Epictetus, in his instruction, warned, "Do not take pride in any distinction that is not truly your own." Number 9. The deceiver habitually lying or misleading others. The deceiver is false, unreliable, and faithless. They break oaths, betraying confidence. How shall we treat them? Adopting a steady mind entails refusing belief in or reliance upon the deceiver. Remain alert, confirm claims or deeds, and uphold truth and loyalty. Epictetus in his teaching observed, "If someone declares that such a person maligns, you do not invent excuses for what is spoken, but reply, 'He does not know my further flaws.' Otherwise he would not have mentioned merely these." Number 10. The censor constantly judging or assessing companions and their actions. The censor is severe, rigid, and unrelenting. They seldom admire or encourage, focusing only on defects and mistakes. How do we contend with them? Through equanimity. Do not be cowed or embittered by the censor. Preserve self-trust. Measure your worth by inner principles, and exercise compassion and clemency. Marcus Aurelius advised in his Meditations, whenever you prepare to condemn another, ask yourself this question: what weakness of mine most closely mirrors the one? Number 11. The pretender declaring one belief while living by another. The pretender is unstable, inconsistent, and insincere. They demand that others uphold standards which they themselves ignore. To confront the pretender, we must not yield to their persuasion or illusions. We should not permit them to misguide us into assuming they are righteous or virtuous, or into feeling ashamed or inadequate. Instead, we ought to remain steady and harmonious, faithfully following our own principles and commitments. We should likewise remain truthful and equitable, never asking from others what we ourselves would not undertake. We must also avoid becoming pretenders by being steadfast and genuine and ensuring our actions match our words. Epictetus counseled in his teaching, "Do not recite your philosophy, but embody it." Number 12. The despiser, forever scorning, or disliking others without cause. The despiser is hostile, combative, and uninformed. They strike or damage others unjustly. The wise response to them is to resist harboring resentment or vengeance, preserve tranquility, reason, and comprehension. Recognizing they act from folly or frailty, we must practice compassion and forgiveness, shunning animosity without reason. Marcus Aurelius reflected in his Meditations, "The noblest form of retribution is to refuse becoming like the offender." I trust you found value in this discourse. On the 12 categories of individuals, philosophy warns us to avoid. Should you have reflections, suggestions, or inquiries, feel welcome to share them in the discussion space below. I would be pleased to hear your insights and reply to your questions if you appreciated this lesson. Show support and join our community for willers. More thoughtful material. Until next time.